Afternoon, everybody. I almost said evening then. Jesus, I can't even get my times right. God, first video other than that one I posted out yesterday, which I did that after the one when I got home. But hey ho, we're not going to worry about pedantics. In my last video, I believe it was, I thought things were going to go smoothly, but I guess the first video back and I can't even get the fucking times right. Ah well, what a shame. Such potential, all wasted, because I don't know the difference between afternoon and evening. But that's not why you called. You didn't come here to find out whether or not I'm getting my fucking times wrong. No, I want to talk about the smoking ban, and I also want to talk about something else which will come to mind later down the line. Oh yes, that's right. The 11-year-old that was arrested for posting memes. But first and foremost, let's go over this smoking ban shit. So, as we should know, in 2006, in Tony the war criminal Blair's government, he banned indoor smoking. This had a 20% financial hit towards pubs and the like. And I think, obviously, that's bad in and of itself. But you could at least understand the idea behind not smoking inside pubs, inside the actual buildings themselves. It makes sense when you think about it, because obviously there's issues with secondhand smoke. It can make an uncomfortable environment for people. You can kind of get behind it, because at least there's some logical reasoning behind it. So it led to people going outside of pubs or public spaces and basically having a quick puff out there. Now, don't tell me to give you too many statistics on pubs. I'm probably the last fucking person you want to ask about pubs, considering back when I was 11, I had that little incident in Torremolinos at 11 years old, where my granddad, God rest his soul, tried to get me shit-faced on several cocktails and a cheap bottle of sherry at 11. My God. Sick all night. I don't regret it, but fuck me. That really messed me up something awful back then. But you've not come here for a personal story of what happened when I was younger. But I put this to you. I've done a little bit of digging, not shitloads, but a little. And there is a problem with Kier The Traitor Starmer trying to ban smoking outdoors. Isn't it funny how the government's never mentioned anything about drugs, i.e., cannabis, cocaine, speed, ecstasy, but they're more than willing now to target smoking. Do you know what this comes down to? It comes down to our government can't win the war on drugs, they can't win the war on illegal substances, so now they're going to target legal ones. They're going to target tobacco at first, and then I suspect after they've done away with tobacco, they're going to go on to alcohol. Can you imagine a Britain without booze? Tell that to my sister, she'd probably shit herself. Anyway, could you imagine a boozeless Britain? Could you imagine? I think people would be quite rightly angry at the fact that they can't go to the pub anymore and enjoy getting shit-faced with their mates, or having a puff and winding down after a hard day's work or something. Like, there are reasons that people go to the pub. Some people want a day out, some people want to go for a meal, some people, as said, want to get shit-faced on alcohol. There are people who do like fucking pub crawls and all that. I can understand the premise of them, even if I'm not the most educated person on pubs. But now the fact that Kier The Traitor Starmer wants to make it impossible for you to smoke outdoors, in, for example, pub gardens and what have you, or just out and about in public in general, it's not going to be a good thing. You are going to take away people's ability to be able to unwind. You're going to take away the people's ability to simmer down if they're getting a little buzzed off, as it were. But perhaps what is scarier is the idea that they're trying to do this because it's a burden on the taxpayer and the NHS. What a crock of shit that is. It turns out that these tobacco revenues are actually giving us 4 to 5 times the revenue of what it would cost to treat these kinds of tobacco-related diseases or issues at the NHS. So to say that it is a burden on them is a complete crock of shit. But of course, the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. And as far as a burden on the taxpayer is concerned, well, is it really a burden on the taxpayer, considering it's not something that they compulsory, can't even get the word out now, what they buy out of necessity, shall we say. It's not something they have to do, but people choose to do it, whether it's through addiction or whether it's because they want a cigarette. It is a personal choice of the taxpayer. As such, can it really be classed as a burden on them? I don't think it can. But I tell you what will be a burden for the taxpayer: making this illegal. The only thing you're going to do by making it illegal to smoke outside is you are going to drive tobacco into criminal gangs. You are going to drive this shit underground, just like you've already done with drugs. It does beg the question, what kind of drugs is Kier the Traitor Starmer on? Now, before I go any further into any more of this, I will take this brief minute just to say to all of you, thank you ever so much for all your kind words and support. And I appreciate the sentiments when people are saying, be careful, because they're going to send the fucking boys round to come and break legs. Sorry, I mean, arrest me. They're not going to break my legs, or at least I hope not. But I will reiterate a point I said before, and I will say again, we have to be prepared to do one or two things: get killed or go to jail. And that's why I'm never going to shut up about the things I'm doing. I will always watch myself, and I will advise people, if you get that knock at the door and they arrest you, do not plead guilty, because that's what they want. Free speech itself is not a crime. Only inciting terrorism or violence with it is a crime. If you're not doing that, you have nothing to fear from these traitorous bastards in the police and the establishment. Which is why I will always say, and I cannot stress enough, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it how it is. And I'll do my damnedest not to bullshit you. Can you say the same for Kier the Traitor Starmer? So, the way I look at this smoke ban is that you are literally going to drive this into the criminal gangs, as well as, of course, pissing off the British people, which, to be fair, he already does a good job of that as it is, by doubling down and labelling people as far right. And this is just speculation, this next point. Maybe he's doing this so he can move on to alcohol specifically, so he can shut down people who are perceived by him as far right. Because a lot of us, the mainstream media and the crooked establishment, they will claim us to be these fucking boozed up, far right, racist, football hooligan thugs, etc., etc. Please insert title of what people describe far right as here. There is a very simple saying in modern day where you could apply this to just about anything in life. Do you know what that saying is? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that is exactly what Kier the Traitor Starmer is doing. He's trying to fix a problem that doesn't need fixing, number one, and number two, simply doesn't exist. God, I'm getting my tongue tied trying to say where I need to go. Anyway, the point is, this problem simply doesn't exist. It is something Kier the Traitor Starmer is cooking up to justify what he's doing. He is doing it for what I feel is malicious intentions, And the man should know by now that you don't fix a problem by making things illegal. Just like how in America, if you make guns illegal, you're not going to hurt the criminal gangs that are going to have guns in the first place, or just criminals in general. You're going to hurt the innocent people who do go through things by the book. The bottom line on this subject is that this is not going to help people. It's going to piss more people off, and it's merely an excuse for Kier the Traitor Starmer to move on from tobacco to other substances like alcohol and ban them too. Actually, no, there is something I have missed out before I do this, and hopefully it'll bring it up to 10 minutes, me talking about this. But all you're going to do by extending the smoking ban to outdoors, you're going to kill pubs, put simply. You are going to kill their business. They might be able to survive as restaurants, but they'll never survive as a pub, because what's the whole point of a pub? People to go there to unwind, relax, have a smoke, have a drink, and get it out of their system. You're not going to solve problems, Kier the Traitor Starmer. You're going to break them. You're going to break these pubs and make it physically impossible for them to survive as pubs. They'll only be able to do it from then on out if they go as restaurants. And that, in my humble opinion, is fundamentally wrong, Kier the Traitor Starmer. Let's now talk about the 11-year-old. The 11-year-old who commented on social media about the riots that took place over those last few weeks. The riots that took place all over the country. Southport, Stoke-on-Trent, Plymouth, Edinburgh, Liverpool, Manchester, just to name a few. An 11-year-old boy has recently been arrested because he posted a fucking meme to the internet. A meme. Need I go on? It truly astounds me how the police can have any motivation whatsoever to arrest an 11-year-old for posting a meme on the internet. What is going through that officer's mind? Thank you. Like, what the hell was this officer thinking, arresting this kid? Now, if he posted something that said, oh, I don't know, I want to blow up a Bell End church, then yeah, I could probably understand arresting the kid. But the fact he's posting a meme, and there's no context as to what it is, for all we know, it could just be a harmless meme, no offense can even be taken on that shit, and yet he's being arrested for it. Do you know how badly you could fuck his life up by having him arrested and placed on a charge for posting a meme on the internet? You could destroy that kid's life by doing this. And it begs the fucking question. Where is Kier the Traitor Starmer's empathy? Where is Kier the Traitor Starmer's sympathy for this kid? Oh, that's right. He doesn't have any sympathy for the fucking kids. I mean, take a look at what he did in Southport. Went in, put a reef down. When somebody asked him a hard question, he fucked off out of there in his car. So that's where Kier the Traitor Starmer's sympathy is. Not for that kid, or any kids for that matter. He cares about himself and making money. This is why I never sugarcoat a fucking thing, because Kier the Traitor Starmer needs to be called out on every wrong action he has taken. It is why in the last video I have actively called for Kier the Traitor Starmer to be impeached and arrested, ideally sent to jail by bringing back the treason law that Tony the War Criminal Blair rescinded back in the early 2000s. The man is not fit to run a bar. The only thing that man is fit to run is a country mile if shit hits the fan. That's the only thing I trust him to do, because this man would rather fuck off and have a holiday rather than fix the issues in this country. And I think it's truly shameful that now we have kids who are being arrested in this modern day just because of the things they post on social media. I can't even say the mainstream media won't tell you this because it's actually being reported on. But it actually makes me physically sick thinking about it. much better. Now, it does sicken me, quite frankly, that this kid could have his life screwed up because of this. You know the situation is dire when we have kids who are literally being persecuted for what isn't even a fucking crime, or more rather, shouldn't be, in anybody's world where there is at least some semblance of that rare thing these days called common sense. As hard as it's going to be for me to do this shit, I am going to inject a little bit of humour into even this story. Can you imagine a situation where this kid ends up actually getting charged and sent to juvie, and then he goes with all the other kids that have been sent to juvie? He asks them, "What are you in for?" "Oh, I assaulted my teacher with a knife. That's why I'm here. I'm stuck in juvie for 3 or 4 years. What are you in for?" "I posted a meme to the internet." I can't even laugh at that, to be honest. I want to laugh, to try and, as said, shed some light on this shit. But the cold, bitter truth is, it's not funny. It's not even remotely funny. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's abhorrent. It's completely reprehensible. How can anybody find any justification in this shit? Oh, I guarantee you, if this child was a Muslim, how long do you think it would be before they show up? The mullahs, that is. How long do you think it would be before there were riots on the streets for a kid posting memes? 5 minutes? 3 minutes? Seconds, maybe? We all know they wouldn't dare do this to a Muslim, a black person, or anybody part of Plasticine, Youth Demand, Just Stop Oil. You would never see this in a year of Sundays, let alone a month of Sundays. Because there would be so much uproar behind it that you basically would have to pay attention and notice and think, oh shit, things are going to hell in a handbasket, I better stop what I'm doing. But not Kier the Traitor Starmer. Not when it's old Whitey getting persecuted. And as I said, and I cannot stress enough, it makes me physically sick right now, just thinking that this kid could have his life screwed, let alone the actual reality that he may well be screwed already because his name is going to be plastered all over the internet. The white racist kid who posted a meme on the internet because he potentially supports what happened in those riots, or at least the patriots in said riots. Fuck you, Kier the Traitor Starmer. Fuck you and your traitorous establishment. Fuck you, police, who are deciding to persecute this kid. Take these and swivel, bluntly speaking. You wonder why the British public have absolutely zero respect for you. This highlights it unequivocally. You would never think of doing this if it was the religion of peace. You would never think of doing this if it was a person of colour or an illegal immigrant. You would never think of doing it. It wouldn't even cross your mind. But this kid, this white boy, because he posted a meme, oh quick, we better send the boys round. Fucking scum, the lot of you, bluntly speaking. And I think a lot of people feel the exact same anger that I do. Bear in mind though, this is not the anger that caused the overturning of police vans, the setting on fire of migrant hotels or a police station, which I do not condone under any circumstances. This is anger building up over time out of pure frustration for a treacherous establishment that seems to care more for itself than the very people they're supposed to protect and serve. So yes, forgive me if I'm a little pissed off right now. And bearing in mind, I'm not even the biggest fan of kids. Let me tell you. And I don't mean it from a nonce perspective, like Hugh Edwards. I'm talking, I just generally don't like children, but I understand the need to protect them. I understand the need to appreciate that they may be young and dumb. You could even go that far and say that shit. But to arrest someone based off of a meme is an insult to the British public. As I said, if he had incited terrorism or violence, maybe I could understand. But we have no context of that. We just see 11-year-old kid arrested for posting a meme. For posting regarding the riots. Where's the context? Or would the context destroy your narrative, mainstream media? I wonder. I really fucking wonder. I hope this kid is released without charges. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of kids. But am I going to be a bitter, grumpy old git at 33 years to say, oh, look at those kids, they don't deserve a fucking future. Nah, fuck them. Nah, nah. No, I'm not. I kind of feel funny doing that now. Anyway, I'm not going to be this grumpy old git who says, fuck the kids. What I will say, though, is that these establishment pricks had better understand, you start messing with the kids, that is one of the fastest ways to get civil war. That is one of the fastest, if not the fastest way to completely infuriate the British public. Do you want a violent revolution, Kier the Traitor Starmer? You're definitely going the right way about it. And let me be absolutely clear, I'm not advocating for a violent revolution. I'm not advocating for anybody to commit violence, vandalism, criminal damage, sexual assault in the case of the Notting Hill Carnival. I'm not advocating for any illegal activities to be committed by our side. The only two things I've advocated for is Kier the Traitor Starmer's arrest and to turn your backs on the police. That's it. I have wanted this to be peaceful the whole time. But Kier the Traitor Starmer seems hell-bent on making it happen. The violent revolution. So he can try and justify bringing in the army. I mean, at this point, we already have a substantial number of what I would see as good police officers. 5,000 of them leaving the force voluntarily out of the 9,100 or so that have left the forces in 43 different forces of the country. Don't just take my word for it. I got that from the Telegraph. But the point is, he seems to be hell-bent on pushing for a violent revolution so he can bring the army in. But I don't think he quite understands the situation, because I don't think the army's taking too kindly to what he's doing either. Cutting the defence budget, making sure that people who go to protests, they can be labelled as far right so that the British police can basically justify their actions to take off patriots and concerned parents. They're going out of their way to arrest children for memes on the internet. The fact he wants to ban smoking outside, which will kill pubs' businesses and destroy what little is left of our communities. There's only one reason he's doing this, and that is to push for a violent revolution. That's the cold, bitter truth. And you know what's an even worse cold, bitter truth? Which I don't want, I don't advocate for it. I'd rather this be peaceful, as I've said many, many times. And I think the cold, bitter truth that I think even people like Tommy Robinson and Richard Inman and Maya Toosey and Paul Thorpe need to understand is that whether you want peaceful resolution or not, I think violent revolution is now completely inevitable. I think at most we've got 6 months. I don't think, though, we're going to even get to that. I think it's likely going to be like 3 to 5 months before shit really hits the fan. Maybe people are already at boiling point. Maybe they'll go out the next fucking day. I don't know. But what I do know is that the people are growing increasingly angry with this establishment every single day because of their continued persecution of not just concerned parents and patriots, but now children as well. All the while going out and releasing violent offenders after they've served 40% of their sentence. Now they're trying to bring it down to 20%. How they are suspending jail sentences for child rapists and sex offenders. But they'll say, we only have 100 spaces left, guys. We can't put them in. Oh, but when it's the far right and the people as part of those riots that took place, oh, they fucking put them in like a meat grinder. Like, put the meat in, turn the fucking handle, out come convicts. What a coincidence. And Kier the Traitor Starmer wonders why his reputation and his approval rating is in fucking tatters right now. I would never believe it with my own eyes. How can my ratings drop? You fucking ignorant cretin. This is why I am never going to mince my words, sugarcoat or anything. I am going to say it exactly how it is, and I will do my best not to bullshit you. Now, I've said in the past, actually, and I will prove this point, I actually said in the past that there is nothing good about Kier the Traitor Starmer. Do you know what? I was wrong about that. I'll put my hands up and say it. I fucked up. There is one good thing about Kier the Traitor Starmer. And I say one good thing, and I mean one good thing that we can take away from this whole video. Kier the Traitor Starmer is the perfect role model as what not to be when you are a Prime Minister.